I'm Muhammad Tasvirido, and I'm one of the creator in Unfold magazine. So in my part, I'm discussing about how small daily habit quietly change your lives. So we usually expect transformation to arrive dramatically, don't we? But the inside our world explores a very different, much more relatable idea that some of the most meaningful changes begin in the calm, ordinary moments we rarely pay attention to. So, at its core, this essay centers on the quiet, steady nature of personal growth. It focuses on how the small things, the ones we often overlook, can shape the way we think, feel, and respond to life. Instead of dramatic events, it highlights the quieter, more human side of change. Readers will walk away with a new perspective on how transformation actually happens in real life. They will gain a deeper appreciation for the small routines that build stability, the emotion that guide their decision, and the mindset shifts that quietly influence their confidence and resilience. This piece, this piece is worth reading because it invites the audience to rethink what growth truly looks like instead of waiting for a dramatic moment to fix everything. The essay encourages a gentler, more realistic approach that fits into anyone's daily life. And it gives readers something valuable, a sense that meaningful improvement is not far away or complicated, but already within reach. So if you are ever felt stuck, right, waiting for a big breakthrough, this essay might shift how you see yourself and your own progress. I invite you to explore it and discover how quiet moments and simple choices can become starting point of your personal turning point. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm one of the author of Unfold. My name is Fikri, and here I want to ask you about one topic that's really important for ourselves, for us as a young people or learner. You know, are you ever try to treating yourself more good? Look at yourself and asking if you are okay. Are you okay? Or are you ever try to stop thinking or not doing anything for a second? Not for your assignment, your task, but for yourself. If your answer is, I can't remember exactly when, or something like that, then this magazine was made for you. Our magazine Unfold talking about self-growth and mental health in this noisy world. I made an article in there and discussing about stillness. It's not a silence. It's not something that pursues you to completely mindless, but a short pause that help us regain emotional balance in a full of deadlines, overthinking, and notifications. It's really worth reading if you have ever felt overwhelmed, emotionally, emotionally tired, or mentally crowded. This piece shows a gentle way to back to yourself. I invite you to open our magazine. Unfold is not just something to read, it is something to breathe with. So, if you have any issues about your mental health and you don't know how to maintain it, come join us and read our magazine. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Have you ever experienced when you just wake up and then it feels like fun? It's like a fun morning until you just open your phone and then you see your friends won an award. Another friends is like traveling and then get an internship. And you just like starting your day with a fun day, like a productive morning, until you realize that your morning feel inadequate. If you ever felt that quiet panic, the sting of comparison, and you've already experienced the heart of my essay. So hello everyone, I'm Zainam Sharofa. I'm one of the author from Unfold Magazine, and here I want to review my essay inside of it. Under the title is Becoming You, the inner journey of self-discovery in a distracting world. It's a piece that unpacks why so many of us losing ourselves without even realizing. Okay, so what is inside the essay? I break down the journey from losing ourselves to finding the quality of ourselves again, the clarity of it again. So in the first one, I discuss about understanding the trend of FOMO beyond the survey. So there I explain that FOMO isn't just a fear, it's a symptom of losing connection with our values with pace. And also I discuss how constant online comparison silently shifts our focus away from our inner growth. After I talking about the FOMO trend, I transitioned it into how social comparison changed your identity. I think it's a crucial discussion about it. So drawing from Erickson's theory, I describe how young adults are the most vulnerable to identify convention. I explain how scrolling rewards self-growth. Your real achievements feels too small and then you feel life is slow, your directions feel unclear, not because you're failing, but because you were comparing your everyday to someone else's highlight reels. And then after you comparing yourself, I discuss it about when your life starts to feel like someone else's story. So in there, I share an interview from 22 years old student who joined many organizations, event and other competitions, not because you wanted to, but because everyone else was doing it, like a FOMO. Her life looked like full, but it feels like empty, you know. She said she was exhausted, but not because by the activities, but because she losing herself. So this part of essay shows how easy for FOMO to steal our narrative. Okay, so after I discuss some cases from fear of missing out in the two last discussion, I discuss about how to return your own pace and then practical tools. Okay, so how to returning your own pace? I explain the concept of JOMO, joy of missing out, is it as a way to reclaim inner freedom. And also I discuss how choosing activities doesn't mean doing less, it means doing what actually matters. And then I give a practical tools for our self-discovery. So I give a concrete step by psychology. The first one, there's the digital boundaries. It's like unfollowing triggers, scheduling breaks, and then there's also a fellows checks in, asking does this align with the person I want to become. And then there's a reflection rituals like journaling, evening checks in, and so on. And the last, you can identify best decision, like as a choosing based on meaning, not because of pressure. Okay, the last one I want to tell you from our magazine, why this essay and Unfold magazine are worth reading. So this is so worth it because there are so many cases from young students feel so tired, not because they're behind, but because they're overwhelmed by comparison and noise. That's the point. So, Unfold was created a safe space to slow down, open up, and understand yourself again. If you want a magazine that just don't entertain but helps you to reflect, to breathe and grow. So this is exactly why you need Unfold magazine. If you're ready to step out from comparison and step back into your own rhythm, I invite you to read my essay and buy this magazine. Unfold yourself. Thank you so much. Bye everyone.
Hi. Okay, let me start with a simple question. When was the last time you studied until midnight and woke up feeling even more tired than before? Most students in this room have lived through that moment, and that is exactly why I wrote Balancing Academic Pressure and Mental Well-Being. Before I go any further, let me introduce myself. I'm Revan Bunga Setiawan from Group 4 with student ID 081. And like many of you, I have also felt what it's like to juggle schoolwork, expectations, and the constant pressure to succeed. In my article, I explore a reality that many of us silently struggle with, the feeling school is a rest that never ends. The heart of my work is simple but important. Academic success means nothing if our mental well being collapses along the way. Modern students live in a cycle of deadlines, group tasks, and constant screen time, and this routine slowly drains our energy without us even realizing why students need self-care. As I explained in the first part, exhaustion isn't just physical, it is also emotional and psychological. And the second section raises a crucial question. If pressure keeps building, how do we stay mentally strong? This question leads us to the real meaning of self care. Instead of the aesthetic version often shown on social media, self care is about simple daily practice that genuinely keep us stable, such as getting enough sleep, journaling, and giving our minds space to breathe. So, what self care really means? In the third section, I highlight research showing that even small habits can protect students from burnout. And this is where the main point becomes clear. Self care is not selfish and it is not a reward. Instead, it is a survival skill that help us keep learning, think clearly, and avoid emotional fatigue. Why this matters for students? The final section introduces simple and practical habits such as meditating for 5 minutes or stretching after classes that can create meaningful improvements in our mental clarity. And this insight remind us that success is more sustainable when the mind is healthy, not overworked. This work matters because it speaks directly to students who often feel pressure to keep going even when their energy is gone. And my article does more than describe the problem. It offers solutions that are realistic, evidence based, and truly possible to use in everyday life. So, if you have ever felt overwhelmed, burnout, or trapped in the endless cycle of academic stress, I invite you to read my article not just to understand the pressure, but also to learn how to rise above it. Your mind deserves the same care you give to your breath. Thank you.
Hello, precious people. Welcome to the inspiring section of our Envelope magazine. My name is Farhanut Maila, and here we share simple but meaningful stories. Stories that can touch your heart, make you think, and remind you that you're not alone. Okay, so today I want to share the story I wrote. It is titled More Than Her Scars How She Learned to Live Beyond the Pain. Alright, now before we start, let me ask you something. Do you ever feel tired or pressured or not good enough? Do you ever smile outside but inside you feel something heavy? Okay, if yes, then this story is for you. Because more than her scars follows Maura, 17-year-old girl who studies in a boarding school during the COVID time. From the outside, she looks strong and smart, but inside, she carries a weight that no one sees. So, in this story, you will learn how silent pressure can change a person, how emotional pain can hide behind a quiet smile, and how support from our family and friends can slowly bring life back. Well, I don't want to spoil everything here, but one day, Maura's hidden struggle is finally discovered, and that moment becomes the start of her healing journey. And yeah, through this story, maybe you, as a readers, will see that healing is slow, but small steps still matter. You will see that everyone fights their own battles. Sometimes listening and caring can save someone's life. Well, I believe this story is worth reading because it is simple, real, and close to many students' experiences. Maybe you will see part of yourself in Maura, or maybe you will understand your friends better after reading it. So, if you want a story that is relatable, emotional, and full of hope, I invited you to read More Than Her Scars, How She Learned to Live Beyond the Pain in our Unfold magazine. Thank you.
Have you ever felt that the voice inside your head no longer belongs to you, or that the world suddenly becomes frightening even when you can't explain why? Hi, my name is Mesinta, and this is my story behind the invisible voice. This story follows my journey of living with paranoid schizophrenia, from being a cheerful, ambitious girl with dreams of becoming a teacher to someone feel watched, followed by footsteps at night, and trouble with whispers calling my name. Through this story, readers will discover that first, mental illness is not a weakness, but a reality that requires courage to comfort. Two, support from family, doctors, and a kind nurse can be the guiding light when when the mind feels dark. Healing is not instant. It took me a full year to stand tall again. And most importantly, behind that every terrifying voice, there is always a hope waiting to be heard. My story is not simply about an illness, it is about identity, loss, recovery, and resilience. It is about a girl who once locked herself in her room for days, who quit college because of fear, and who now continues her studies in her seventh semester as a survivor. This work matters because many people silently fight the same battle, and they deserve to know that they are not alone. If you seek a story that honest, vulnerable, and filled with hope, then behind the invisible voice is a journey worth reading. Come, listen to the voice that once learned me, because maybe it is also the voice someone out there needs to hear.
Finally, it's my turn to talk about my piece. So, hi everyone, I go by the name of Ifa, and today I want to share something very personal, something that I wrote for people who are still trying to figure themselves out, just like me. My piece is called Through the Quiet Season, and it's a story that divided into three parts about growing up, falling apart quietly, and learning how to begin again. So this whole story is simple. It's about self growth that not always feeling loud. It can be soft sometimes, slow and confusing, but still, it all have a meaning. The stories start with the daily chaos that happen in our daily life, like waking up late, feeling lost, and realizing that everyone else seems to have a plan while you are feeling so behind. Then it moves into the messy middle, where healing comes in a small moments, from a rainy afternoon, from your cup of coffee, or a quote that suddenly makes sense. It explains how that healing can come from any way when you realize it. And finally, the last letter ends with acceptance. So in here, I want to I want to explain about understanding that it's okay to not have all the answers from all the questions that you have in your mind, and that we all grow in pieces, not all at once. From reading my creation, I'm pretty sure the readers will find a gentle reminder. I was telling about about being confused is a normal thing. It's a story that reflects the real journey many of us go through but rarely talk about. I think this piece worth reading because it speaks to the quiet side of growing up. That's something that most self growth story don't show. It's not about perfection or a big success. It's about surviving your own thoughts, finding clarity in small moments, and being kind to yourself even when you feel behind. Anyone who feels lost, pressured, or unsure about their future might find a little comfort in my writing. So, if you are in a season of figure things out, I invite you to read this letter. Maybe you'll find a piece of yourself in it, or maybe it will remind you that you're not growing alone. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, let's be honest. Does taking a break make you feel like you're committing a crime? Like, for example, you're exhausted, but that inner voice keeps saying you haven't done enough today. If that is a little too close to you, homie, then my latest piece in Unfold magazine is the reality check you've been waiting for. Hello, my name is Leah, and I'm the writer for the Unfold magazine for the Creative Corner section. So, for this episode of Unfold magazine, I wrote the anti-burnout mantra. What is it? It's about the silent epidemic of our generation, the obsession with productivity, and the paralyzing fear of saying no. It's mostly about how to overcome those problems. I won't spoil the full guide, but inside I challenge everything you think you know about relaxing. It's not about this time management anymore, it's about energy management. So, on my section, I introduced a concept called the recharge pillars, which reveal why your current way of resting might actually be making you more tired. I also dropped a secret to a communication hack I call the sandwich method. It is the ultimate cheat code for you that is always feel guilty when you're saying no to your friends, probably because you are scared of ruining your friendship or something, I don't know. But yeah, from this sandwich method, it's really a guide for you to overcome that feelings. But to unfold that kind of strategy, well, you need to flip open that page. This magazine is effectively for your permission to sleep to pause. Because I made it